Probably want to let Vic Christensen in.
Is he on the outreach committee?
No. Hey, Vic, what's going on?
Okay.
Hello?
I'm just here to watch.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. All right. I believe we have four. All right, we're recording, and it is 5:31 p.m. Friday, September 30th, 2022. I'm going to call to order this special meeting of the Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council Youth and Outreach Committee. Welcome, everyone. We're going to start with our roll call, I suppose. I'll just say the names I see on the screen. Lori Jacobs.
Here.
Chris Valle is here. Thomas Norman.
Present.
John Barbera.
Present.
And Kelly Miller. Kelly, you're muted. Well, I see Kelly Miller is here. Angela Sumner.
Here.
Adrenito Reyes Cruz.
Here.
Okay, and does anybody know who call-in user one is? I mean, it's obviously not John.
Couldn't click the thing.
Yeah, I'm going to send that person back over to attendees. All right, so we are rolling. I guess that's really our welcome and introductions. We know who we are and why we're here, but welcome everyone. Before we get started with our agenda, I'd like to invite public comment on non-agenda items. And if you're here as a student, for any hours or have any other non-agendized business, now would be the time to bring that up to us. So just raise your hand and we will acknowledge you. All right, seeing none, anything from the board or the committee?
Yep, so I'm gonna log out and recuse myself, and I should expect to log in at about what time?
What do you think, Lori? Maybe 10 minutes?
I have no idea. Do you have his phone number? You could just text him.
I can.
Or just, you can pop in and peek at us, Thomas, in 10 minutes. And if it's still going, then just pop back out.
Yeah.
How's that?
I'll even give you 12 minutes just, to allow you time.
Angela has her hand up.
Yeah, go ahead, Angela.
Hi, I'm sorry, I didn't look at the agenda when it was sent out. Did we not add discussing another movie night to the agenda for this month?
We did not. It was my understanding we'd sort of missed the window for that one.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were adding it to this agenda since we didn't get it on last one. Okay.
Yeah, it's too late.
All right. So Thomas, go ahead and I mean, I guess does he have to log out or?
He chose to log out.
Yeah. I mean, I for future reference, I would imagine if you turn off your audio,
you should be able to just mute and then click off your video. That's all.
Vic has his hand up. Maybe he wants to speak on this.
Go ahead, Vic.
Well, if you use the analogy of leaving the room if we were in person, where you cannot listen or speak, and after what Craig mentioned when Lori needed to recuse, even though he didn't do it, it should be logging out so you can't hear or speak, and then somebody let you know when you can come back in.
Okay, that makes sense.
But he didn't do that.
No, he didn't.
Well,
I understand. I'm just stating the fact.
Rules are for other people.
Right.
Anyway.
I think you can bring Ben over.
So ideally, Thomas needs to be informed via text or something when he can come back.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will keep my phone handy. All right. So I'm going to move Benjamin over to panelist.
And do you want to maybe just share with everybody a little bit about what the youth rep does?
I shall. All right. So, and now that we're on that, we are at item 3 in our agenda, which is interviews for our youth board seat, youth seat board member, actually. I think it is what it is. It is a full member of the Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council Board, as represented by someone who is between the ages of 14 and 17. And the purpose of having a seat like that, which not all neighborhood councils, in fact, very few neighborhood councils have, is so that you have a decidedly younger perspective. I mean, obviously our average age is middle-aged and then some. And it's very important that our mission and our agenda and our activities have at least some perspective for people who are, you know, in a different kind of phase of their life, so that we don't get too wrapped up in our own perspectives and attitudes and everything. So with that in mind, we actually before me, so it wasn't really we, but it was decided that there should be a permanent sort of allocation of a board seat for someone in a certain age window. And recently, the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment required us to modify that to make it much younger than we had sometimes allowed, but the essential role and the purpose is the same. So with that in mind, welcome Benjamin Norman. And we would like to start the interview process.
Well, Chris, before you do that, I just want to say, because I handled the intake on the applicants, we did have 2 applicants. Both of them were eligible. The other one told me at the last minute yesterday that she had a conflict in schedule. So, and I told her we're not rescheduling interviews. And the other thing I wanted to say is, I don't know if Ben wants to be Benjamin or Ben, but he qualified by living in our area, and he made the age requirement just by 2 months because you needed to be between 14 and 17 and you couldn't turn 18. I don't remember, but all I know is I checked and he made it by 2 months. So
I'm guessing the 2 months is 2 months short of 18, not 2 months inside of 14, because
yes.
yeah, I just my
yes.
facial hair is a dead giveaway. All right.
Okay.
Not that, okay, anyway, enough on that. So thank you very much for the background is important. And so, you know, and that's the point, is we want to make sure that, you know, certainly for people who have that interest, our committee member, board member, Adrianita was a youth seat holder before. I personally believe it's super valuable because of the nature, you know, of our kind of average neighborhood council member, that we don't necessarily have great representation for people who are busy with other things, but those people's, you know, experiences and their perspectives are just as important, and in some cases more so, since they're going to have, you know, like in the case of our younger members, they're going to have longer to deal with the issues that we're talking about, hopefully. So all that being said, let's start the process. So would any of our committee members have any questions that we'd like to lead off with for Benjamin?
Well, Ben had his hand up first, so I wanted to see maybe if he had a question.
Yeah, you're good, Ben. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. I think Miss Jacobs asked if I go by Benjamin or Ben, and I go by Ben.
That works. All right. Well, actually, would you like to? Do you have any kind of statement or anything you'd like to say to us to start off?
Okay, I can tell you a bit about myself.
Sure.
So my name is Benjamin Norman. I am currently attending the California Academy of Mathematics and Science as a junior, although I do live in the San Pedro area. Throughout my life, I felt called to service towards others, and I've always wanted to help in community events. And this led me to becoming a Rotarian and compelled me to join clubs at my school, such as Red Cross. And some of my hobbies include going to the YMCA to work out, hang out with friends, and cooking. And I also do play basketball and participate in track and field at my school. So thank you for considering me for the youth and outreach position.
Thanks very much. All right. So before I launch into my thing, does anybody else on the committee have questions? Yeah, Lori, go ahead.
Sure. Welcome, Ben, even though it says Benjamin. You can always change your name to be Ben. So one of the questions I have is, we asked, well, it's a requirement that you be able to attend all the board meetings, which are on the second Monday of the month, and to be on at least one committee. We always encourage the youth rep to consider the Youth and Outreach Committee, which meets the fourth Monday of the month. Not obligatory, you could choose another one. So I just want to know, especially since you go to CAMS and you're involved in so many things, do you feel that you have enough time to be able to attend to the meetings and perhaps even maybe spearhead a project of your interest?
Oh yeah, I definitely am free at 5:30, at least after school on Monday. My school ends at 3:45, so about 4:30 I'll be available. And on Mondays I don't really have anything after school as of now, so I should be fine.
Sounds good. And so I have a question. Ben, what's your concept? What's your impression of what the neighborhood council is and does?
Well, I mean, my brother was on the council, so I'd always like hear him in the Zoom meetings. And I know there was like projects like the Encanto like movie night, and I thought that was just really cool. And so I thought like I wanted to be a part of these community events. And I also saw like you do something for like Candy Cane Lane, and I was in my middle school. We did a booth for our school, and I really liked doing that, so I thought that was also cool.
And
I got one for Ben.
Good. Go ahead, John.
Ben, you coming on board and participating with us, what's the major concern you have about our city?
One major concern I have is the environment because and also like the parks, because for like a while now the Peck Park pool, I used to swim there. It's just been like shut down and we can't do anything there. So I had to go to like Hey Rookie. And so I think that could be an issue that we can address.
And I was going to ask, this actually ties in a little bit to what John was asking. Do you have any ideas, or do you think that you would be willing to sort of take on a project? Is there anything that you think that you might want to, you know, and I'm not saying it in terms of something that Ben needs to take on himself, but is there something that you think that, you know, you might be able to bring to the board and say, hey, you know, can we get involved in this? Or do you have any kind of existing ideas for things that we might take on?
Yeah, I have some ideas. Like I know as one of my main issues to tackle is the environment, that we could do like maybe beach cleanups or like some awareness at the Cabrillo Aquarium. And also like we can help address the homelessness, because I know there are homeless shelters in San Pedro, and some of them offer allow you to bring pets. And so I think that we should have like pet food drives and also canned food drives to help with the homeless.
Very good.
So I have to say, I love that. Angela and I are laughing because her daughter's working on our Girl Scout Gold Award. And that's exactly what she wants to work on, is vet services and food drives for pets at the shelters. So, you know, maybe you could support the work if she chooses to pursue that project. Right, Angela?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's something because all the shelters, Ben, now allow for pets, 95% of them, yet they don't have enough vet services. And food, they have food banks out, but nobody's done anything about adding pet food and supplies. So I love that you're thinking along those same lines. I think there's definitely a need there because people experiencing homelessness, man, the pet gives them that unconditional love they needed.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Very good. I was thinking of one as we were talking, and again, I'm trying to think in the perspective of somebody in your age group. I know that, you know, being new to this thing relatively, obviously with your father and brother, you've got some familiarity, but sort of based on your understanding of the neighborhood council system, what do you think, do you have any ideas of what you think it should look like in the future? What, you know, what sort of, you know, the neighborhood council system has been around for several years now, but do you think that this is something that could be or should be, you know, more accessible, or do you think there's are possibilities for us to have greater engagement and greater participation in people your age? I mean, you know, because I'd have to say, based on my experience with your predecessors, they tend to be, you know, extraordinary people, a little more motivated, obviously, to take these sort of things on. But do you think that there are ways that we can make this something that's more attractive and more interesting to people your age?
Yeah, I like the movie nights. I think that's a great idea. And as of right now, like a lot of the people I know that go to San Pedro, I don't think they even know like anything about this. So right now, like a lot of the youth doesn't really know about the neighborhood council. But I feel like uh I could help that. Like maybe we could have like a Discord server or like some social medias that could help bring awareness to the neighborhood council.
That's very good. Yeah, we do have Instagram, Facebook, and we've recently tied Twitter in with that. And so I think that would be useful if there are ways that, essentially, I know, and Adrianita has, and Alec has in the past as well, been kind of a sounding board when we have those sorts of ideas. They can give us some feedback in terms of how it looks, as a, well, really from their perspective, as somebody who uses social media maybe a little differently than the rest of us.
Chris, we've never really had our youth rep involved actively in the posting and the content of our social media. And so, like I don't tweet, I don't have Instagram, Facebook's about as far as my bandwidth can handle here, So I think if Ben has an interest in this, then maybe we can discuss that a little bit more as to how social media for his age group, how we can reach them and what type of posts would grab their attention. So I love that idea.
Yeah, I think that is kind of the next logical step,
Yeah, especially Discord. Like, I think most of us are like, what?
Yeah, I mean, I know what it is.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. I know what it is, and I have an account, but I don't really use it all that much.
Exactly.
But the point is that that's not the point. Is that just because I'm not doing it doesn't mean it's not a thing. So, yeah, that's good. So there's some definitely potential there. I like that.
So Ben, for you. Go ahead, John.
Ben, we have a lot of things that we do throughout the year. We have booths that we attend to, and as a Candy Cane Lane, the Christmas parade, we'll do other events like the movie in the park, music by the sea, anywhere that we can get the word out. If you come and you work with us, can tell other people, kids of your age and everything, what we do and stuff like that. We can get that crowd in there. How do you feel working these booths with us and all that, being part of it?
I think that's a great idea. I could definitely help with that.
So, and Ben said that he had an interest in that. So just so you know, we're considered grassroots government, okay, from the bottom up. Yeah. And we report and we try to engage with our and advise our local city council. So if you can maybe engage some people to want to participate at our youth and outreach meetings, I think that would be great. You're in one of the interactors, is that what they call it, on the Rotary? So I think if we can maybe tie that together, that's a great opportunity to get more youth engagement.
And if I could press pause on the proceeding for just a moment, because I should have said it during public comment on non-agenda items, but the topic of attending events. We were invited to participate in a health fair at Cabrillo Marine Aquarium, which is tomorrow from 11 to 2. I thought we were going to be meeting earlier in the week. I forgot about Rosh Hashanah, which is where I was going to bring it to your attention. If anyone has any desire to stop by for any length of time between 11 and 2 tomorrow, we'll have a pop-up, I believe, at the aquarium. It's just going to be kind of a light, casual, conversations with passersby, things like that. Lori's going to be there working with a different organization. But this is something that Drew from Coastal invited us to.
Chris, that's item 6 on the agenda.
Oh, did I put it? I did put it on. Never mind, it's agendized.
Yeah, but Angela has her hand up.
Yeah, but Angela's probably got something pertinent to the agenda item. Go ahead.
I had a question for Ben, and I know you can only speak to your own school, but I know that the volunteer requirements have changed for high school students during COVID. And I was wondering if you knew if that was something that was back and might be a way to bring in younger people to get involved in volunteering with our, with your efforts in the animal shelters, etc. Do you know if that's still a requirement at your school or at other high schools?
For my school, I don't think it's a requirement.
Okay. I mean, obviously people are still enthusiastic volunteers if they want to be, but I was just curious. Thank you.
Chris, it's my opinion that I can't think of anything else to ask this young man unless somebody else does. So I'm going to say, let's call for the vote.
Second.
Moved by Lori Jacobs, seconded by Angela Sumner. All right, we're going to take roll. John Barbera. So just to be clear, we are voting to, the motion is to confirm Benjamin Norman and then to submit his name to the board for approval.
Well,
yes.
My vote's a yes.
Okay, and Adrianita Reyes Cruz?
Yes.
Angela Sumner?
Yes.
Lori Jacobs?
Yes.
Kelly Miller?
Yes.
And I, Chris Valle, also vote yes. So it would appear that we have a unanimous approval. Welcome.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Ben. Welcome to the board.
And Ben, just so you know, we're just the committee. So officially it goes to the board, which we've never had any issue there. So the board meeting is on Monday, October 10th. And so you would go there and that would be when they would, okay, Vic's raising his hand, when they would vote on it and you would be sworn in. But maybe Vic has something to add to that?
Well, two things. One that's more business related, one that's not. For the business related one, email me directly to make it official, but would this go under the consent calendar?
I don't believe so. I think they have it as a special line item to confirm him, but I'm not positive, Vic. You might need to look at previous meeting notes. Does anybody else remember if this is consent calendar or this?
Adrianita, do you remember when you first came on the board as the youth rep?
What was the question? If I remember what, I'm sorry?
Do you remember when you first came on the board as the youth rep?
Yeah.
He's asking I doubt she would remember how we did it on the board agenda if it was on the consent calendar.
No, if she knows the date, then he can go back and look.
Right.
She
was. If you can tell me the month and year, then maybe I can find it in the past agendas.
It was either 2 or 3 years ago this same month.
Oh, that may be too far back for my records.
Okay, so because it would have been, usually we seat the person in October.
Okay, I don't want to waste time, with all that here. If I'll figure it out. I'll talk to Ray and see if he remembers what they did and stuff. And then just a quick question for Ben. You mentioned the Red Cross. Are you interested in donating blood, or do you already?
I am interested.
Okay, because I think the minimum age is it might be 16 now, but it's at least 17. So I'm a regular lifetime donor. That's why I was asking. That's the not business thing.
Okay. Oh,
nice.
And in terms of establishing a date, did Alec Norman come on the committee around the same time of the year? Because he was more recent.
Yes. You could look up Alec last year, Vic.
Yeah, that would definitely be in the records.
Good point,
Yeah.
Chris.
Okay.
All right. And then just
All
look at the last name.
Okay, that's all for me. And just a reminder, make sure somebody tells Thomas he can come back now.
Oh, thank you. I will dig him up. Everybody talk amongst yourselves for a second.
Chit chat.
Nice weather we're having.
Yeah.
Finally.
Wait, congratulations, Ben. How do you feel?
As long as we're not in Florida.
I feel great.
Yeah.
That's great. And lucky
us,
Ben, we have another Norman.
Yeah, and Ben, I hate to say this, don't hate me for it, but you sound a lot like your brother.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
I don't know why I'm looking around. Ben, could you tell your dad to come back in?
Oh yeah, no, I can go tell him.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh yeah.
That was
good point.
All right,
Man, we're alert. You see,
you
fit in, Ben. We're really alert on,
It's the end of the day and the end of the week. We're all kind of
End of the week.
Oy.
We're sitting here going like, yeah, who's gonna call him on the cell phone?
I don't know.
Why don't we just have Ben?
Well, as long as you get to the right answer, how long it takes is.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, welcome back.
Ditto.
All right. Well,
Congratulations, Dad.
Yeah.
All right.
I want to say, I don't know if it matters, but I think there's been more Normans, more members of that family on this board than any other family. There's like
No, we had Zorors.
Oh, that's right. You know what? You probably went like neck and neck, or maybe is it 4-3?
Right, and I did reach out to Zoror. I think there's another one coming next year.
And unless you've got anything specifically for me about something, I'm going to drop off.
Thank you, Vic.
Thanks, Vic.
Yeah.
I don't
have a good weekend.
So yeah, no, I think we're all right.
Too.
Thank you so much.
Have a nice weekend, brother.
I was mainly here for the youth board information, so
I appreciate that.
All right, and I'll email you with the official kind of announcement or whatever.
Okay, yeah, and then if there's anything else, any motions or whatever.
Sure.
Okay, see you later.
See ya. Thanks.
Congratulations, Ben, at this stage.
Thank you.
All right.
And if you're interested in anything about donating blood, let me know.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, on to agenda item number 4, event planning and action items for Candy Cane Lane and the San Pedro Holiday Parade, which I've abbreviated to Xmas.
I think you should have John Barbera maybe speak on this because I think he's already been in contact.
Yeah, he's the guy. And he just froze, like literally as I said that.
Yep.
There he is.
Froze?
You're cutting in and out.
Am I back?
Sort of.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, I'm back. Everybody can hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So I got, Diana Costa, she told us about it. It's ready to go. We're getting ahead of this. And it's going to be on December 2nd, which is Friday. And we're set up. Melanie knows all about it. Diana's going to send Melanie the paperwork and everything. And we'll get set up. I'm just going to need to get a list of people who will help out setting up the booth and everything, the canopy. And we're going to do like we did last year. I'm going to order the Santa Claus things, the trees and stuff, where they're all in the cellophane wrapped up individually, and pass those out to the kids so they can put them together and they're hanging ornaments. We'll be doing that. Second, the parade is on Sunday, the 4th, December 4th. Elise Swanson sent me the stuff. And to Melanie, and we're all going to be set up for that. And we're working on getting the trolley. If we don't get our trolley, we'll try to get the one from Long Beach. Like we had the year before, the couple of years back, that was more open and the people could see us better. So both of these, we're gonna need lists on people who want to come. But for the Candy Cane Lane, if anybody here on the Youth and Outreach, just let me know. Last year was Kelly and I, and Alec Norman was there for a while.
I was there.
And
so
then,
John,
Lori came down.
Before we get to the mechanics of that, we need to actually submit something to budget and finance. So I know it's allocated.
Right, we got to do,
So we have allocated $1,000 donation to Weymouth Corners, and I think 500. So what we need to do, I believe, is vote tonight. It's not specific on our budget, and then Chris needs to send it to Melanie tonight. So I think I'm going to make a motion.
Vote,
well,
yes.
I'm going to make a motion that we, I guess we have to do this as 2 separate motions, that we, again, be a $1,000 sponsor for Candy Cane Lane. So I make that motion.
I second.
Okay. Point of clarification is, so we're basically, I mean, the money's already been allocated. So what the motion really is to use the money that has been allocated.
Correct. We have the money allocated to both things, and we also have the money for Candy Cane Lane for the ornaments too.
Okay, so let me amend my motion. Okay, John, first tell me, how much money did you want to spend for the ornaments? Was it 200 or?
Well, that's what she has. She has 200.
Okay, so then I amend my motion that we spend $1,200, $1,000 towards the sponsorship fee, and $200 buying the supplies for the items for the children, the art projects. And so even though it's in our budget, we still need to officially vote on this and start the event paperwork.
Okay.
All right.
Second.
All right. And so,
we need to vote on that or discuss it.
We do, but I also want to explain for Ben. So the way the voting will work is that until you turn 18, you will not be able to vote on anything that involves spending or allocating money. But the other limitation is until your ethics and code of conduct training are performed, you won't be able to vote on anything. But get cracking on those things, and then everything except money will be under your purview by the time
So he can't get cracking yet. He has
right,
to
because
be
you have to get
officially
registered.
voted in by the board,
I'm
and
sorry.
then we
Which
have
would
to
be-
notify the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, and they have to give him a cornerstone login.
That's
Yeah.
But we'll explain that to him. Yeah.
Okay.
And our representative will be at the next board meeting, Octaviano, who knows all the ins and outs. Thank you for that correction. All right, so we have the motion on the floor for allocation of $1,000 for the event itself, $200 for our art supplies. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's both that and the candy canes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, ornaments and candy.
John, let me just ask you, last year we had pretty good attendance. Did we have enough of the candy canes and the art kits?
We did. There's like, I'd have to get them down in the box somewhere. There's only like 20 or 30 left.
Okay, so ordering the exact same number you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, I think last time we got 150 last time.
Okay.
And it's not the worst thing to run out, leave them wanting more. Of course, we didn't run out.
Yeah. Yeah. Candy canes, I think I gave those out to Harbor Interfaith or somebody, or the Assistance League, because they weren't going to last. So
any leftover? Okay.
Not to keep them around for a year. We'll get fresh ones. Yeah.
Yes, that would be good.
If those things turn, then it's done for.
Yeah, they don't look white and red anymore.
Okay, so it's financial. I guess we do roll call again. All right, so Lori.
Let's go for the vote.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lori Jacobs, yes. Chris Valle, yes. Kelly Miller.
Yes.
And John Barbera.
Yes.
Adrianita Reyes Cruz.
Yes.
Angela Sumner.
Yes.
And Thomas Norman.
Yes.
All right, the motion passes unanimously.
Woohoo.
I'm trying to do my notes real time because I otherwise have to go back and watch the recording and do our minutes.
So to speed it up, I'll make a motion that we spend $500 again as a sponsored fee for the Christmas parade or holiday parade. Actually, we should call it holiday parade, not Christmas, to be politically correct.
All right.
Second.
Seconded by Angela Sumner. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Just for the sake of being thorough, which of course is the whole point of notes, who moved and seconded the candy cane lane?
Lori and Thomas.
Thomas seconded.
Lori was the motioned it, and Thomas seconded.
Gotcha. Right, and it's Lori moves and
Angela.
Yeah.
What happened?
Hey, I'm just trying to get my minutes together. What I have to do is, in the past, I had to go back and reconstruct the entire meeting from the recording, and it's tedious. All right, so let's take that vote then. We'll go in reverse order. Thomas Norman.
Yes.
Angela Sumner.
Yes.
Adrianita.
Yes.
And Johnny B.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
I vote yes. Chris Valle and Lori Jacobs.
Indeed, yes.
Okay, that's also unanimous. All right, and I will forward that information and the amounts to Melanie as soon as we're done here. So that's good. Yeah, those are, again, for everybody, whether you're familiar or not, those are two more, I would call them fixtures in our annual calendar. That's just great. It's a fun event. It's certainly the last couple of years, it was a chance for people to get out and mingle when it had been strictly off the menu for a little while. So last December in particular was very nice, and we did have a good time. It's really one of those opportunities for people to see that the board is actual human beings, and we're probably not on the radar of many San Pedrins in general, but that's the whole point, is that, if we can make a few more people slightly more curious about what it is we do, then, we will occasionally trap a straggler and get them to start working for us. Plus, it's just nice. It's a good feel-good evening. Lots of singing and dancing around. Which brings us to agenda item number 5, and this would be discussion.
Maybe we did. I'm
sorry, say again. Who's that? Oh.
No, it was another phone. Sorry.
No problem. All right. So this next item is discussion, approval, and ostensible planning of the Advocate hard copy newsletter that we have done for quite some time now. Lori?
Okay, so I asked to have this on the agenda for a couple of reasons. I'm looking at a time frame of us putting the Advocate out to have it arrive to homes sometime in December for 2 reasons. One, and I'm waiting for confirmation of this, we know we have an election coming up. The election is set for April 1st. So I'm trying to figure out when the call for candidates, we normally use the newsletter to talk about why we would want to, be on the neighborhood council. And so I talked to Diana, she said, shoot for December. We don't know for sure the exact date, but I think sooner than better. And then the other thing is, because of the upcoming end to eviction moratoriums, to rent moratoriums and evictions possibly happening, that I really would like to put a lot of information in writing on tenant rights, because there's a lot of people who aren't getting the information, because people that often need this are not necessarily online. And then of course we have plenty of room to do our normal articles that include programs at rec and parks, I would suggest. And I'm open to any other, ideas, maybe, a message from the president. But the main 2 things driving my reason for wanting to put an issue out in December is the election and the pending evictions. And I'm certainly open to other topics, but that's why I proposed it. And we do have, I believe, 2 newsletters in the budget, and the second one would come out probably in March when we actually have the candidates and their statements. So if anybody has any questions, let me know.
I'm in favor. I think the timing's really good. We know we'll have a new mayor. We know we'll have a new city council person. I think it's the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good idea. I didn't even think about that, Thomas.
Yeah. Well, and there is something, because social media is so cheap and easy, people, whether they're impressed or not by it, it'll just kind of come and go. Maybe it'll get them thinking, but when you actually print something and it can be around, after the fact as well, that is a nice sort of more physical reminder. I think that it's important, I think, for us to have a balance between all those other things, because as we seek to kind of, expand social media, I think, again, in terms of being responsive to people who, let's say, aren't on Instagram, having those things on a regular basis as well is it just gives us the kind of coverage we're supposed to have.
I really like that, Thomas. Meet our new council member and have our council member perhaps, give information on who their new staff are and who you would contact for things. And I still think too, we should get an update from Melanie and have a section on emergency numbers. If there's graffiti, who do you call? lahop.org if you see somebody who's experiencing homelessness. So a section with numbers to call for various services if you see a sidewalk or, with a problem, or, whatever it is, tree trimming. I think if we have that type of information, people can cut out that section and put it on their refrigerator.
Yeah, I think people like that. And again, that's sort of something function. It's why we give out pens, for instance. You have something that's practical and functional with some information that ties you back conceptually to the people who gave it to you. So that's a good idea.
I'm going to log off the phone, and I'll try to get back on the computer.
Okay, we'll be
Thanks,
here.
John.
Okay, thank you.
So do we need a motion Or should we just, I mean, do we need to, I guess we need to tell Melanie, because we weren't sure for a while whether we were going to do 2 newsletters. And I'm pretty sure we still have 2 budgeted. So maybe when you contact her, let her know we're looking at a December timeframe. And I haven't, or I don't think anybody's checked to see, because I believe postage went up since the last time we put out our newsletter. So we probably need to call Ken Perry and find out what the postage is. Chris, if maybe you can do that. He's got the list of our zip code areas or whatever. So we have an amount. I don't remember what it is. I think it's like 4,500. So we may need to up that. I don't even pay attention to postage. I don't know how much more it could be. So maybe what we submit is we want to put out the newsletter. We have a budget of 4,500 and we're checking to see how much postage might go up and leave room to say we may need to add. We certainly have lots of money in our budget right now that's unallocated.
Okay. So then hearing no objections, do we approve the existence of this newsletter? Okay, and so with the money already allocated, we just need to then verify that it is what we're going to end up needing. So who is this that I'm asking, I'm calling about the postage?
You know what, as much as I keep trying to pull myself out of things, I'll email Ken Perry and copy you, Chris, so now you're connected to him.
That'll work.
Okay, so ask for the new rate, and I'm, keeping the same postal routes or
okay.
routes. I don't know
what I'll do then is when I talk to Melanie, I'll let her know that we're going to confirm what those rates are before we make that official.
I'll copy her on an email too, so she's in there.
Well, she's in there. That'll work. Okay, and then hopefully you'll give us a.
And meanwhile, everybody should think about what maybe you'd want to add to the newsletter that you think our stakeholders would want to know about. And Ben, perhaps we'll have an article from our new youth rep, and you think about things that you want to reach out to people your age. I think that would be awesome.
I agree.
Yeah, we could do. I mean, again, I think we don't. Nobody's got to go and write the Great American Novel, but I think there's stuff like, coverage of construction at San Pedro High, or there's just kind of, people who live a couple blocks away who don't necessarily have high school age people in their household. That might be of interest and things like that. So we can kind of gather small stories and and put them in there.
I'll try to put together a timeline if we wanted to hit the middle of December, when we need to have articles in by to submit. I'll kind of work backwards on that. And if Diana changes it, because we don't know what the date is for the call for candidates,
right,
but I think we can be well prepared so probably, and I hate that it runs into the holidays, we're probably going to need to submit it around Thanksgiving time or right after that. So.
Well, that's a good milestone.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, good. All right, we're getting a lot done this evening. Good. All right. So I think then we can move on to item number 6. And that's what I alluded to earlier, is that I got a heads up from Drew on Coastal Neighborhood Council. This is another instance of a health fair that happened last year or was it earlier this year? At Cabrillo Marine Aquarium. There's several large healthcare companies sort of sponsor the event, but it's kind of it's a public fair, informational mostly, but it's booths and tables. And there's actually, could have been sort of COVID driven, but there was a good turnout, a lot of public interest in. So there was a few people. I don't know if anybody from Central was there, but we had a couple of people from I know Thomas was there, from Northwest and from Coastal. And this is an opportunity to sort of shake some hands and describe what it is we do. We still have a couple of we have some pens and sign up sheet and things like that we can use to sort of do literal outreach. And so if anybody would like to stop by or attend, I will be there probably starting at 11, and I may or may not go the entire time, but I will definitely be there. at or before 11 o'clock tomorrow. And it's just basically a chance to sit down at the table, talk about the neighborhood council, meet some people in the community. So it's pretty light and casual. You know, I think that we will have a pop-up. Oh, and as it turns out, Drew had been ill. I don't think she's going to be attending, but someone will be bringing the Central a pop-up so that we don't really need to worry about that. It's nice. We'll have some shade.
Central, who are you talking to?
I mean,
from
Coastal.
Oh, okay, because I don't think Central anybody, and
Yeah.
they did put on the flyer. I let Elise know today because I saw her, and
Yeah.
I said, you put Central instead of Coastal, but they did put us, so that's really all that's important.
Yeah.
And if you happen to be there, I'll be working there for the South Bay City Council of Governments, talking about energy efficiency and eviction moratoriums and home sharing and programs like that. But it's a fun event if you want to promote it to people and families. It's a free event, although you do have to pay for parking. If you are attending and you are going to work for the neighborhood council booth, when you drive in, tell them I'm a vendor working a booth, and they should not charge you for parking.
I heard today that if you just say you're attending the event, the aquarium was going to cover parking. So that might work as well. Maybe it won't, but I will plan to be there. And I know my family's going to be getting boosted there. They're advertising the Omicron boosters.
Oh, excellent.
Yes, they will have, and this time they're going to have the vaccination booth in front of the building. Okay, and they're going to give us more space between booths for a pop-up and shade because it was so hot last year. But they had huge attendance. They had about 1,000 people come through there last year. So, and if you have any concerns about health, wear a mask. Even though it's outdoors, it will be crowded. So, you should be safe there. But they'll have a lot of interesting, it's not all related to health. And if you're there and you have got your family, you might as well go through the aquarium too.
Which I think is kind of the draw for everybody.
Yeah.
Get some traffic in the gift shop. Oh, okay.
And
Chris,
you have sign-in sheets to try and capture some email addresses?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Chris, you'll have enough people?
I believe so. Again, we don't, this was kind of a fluctuating commitment. Like there will be a table and a pop-up. And I will be there for a while. If we're not there for the entire 3 hours, or if we are, again, the whole purpose is really for us just to have some kind of light engagement. We don't have a specific mission or discussion.
Well, do you know what time you'll be there? So if somebody else wants to come, they can fill in the other slot.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna come earlier. I mean, I'm gonna be there. I think they said there's not much set up for us. We're not actually bringing the pop-up, but I'll probably come just before 11.
So
well, Chris, I was gonna tell you, I have the pop-up here.
Oh. Well, yeah, I appreciate that, but we're not. I think Drew's husband is going to bring coastals because they'd already planned to do that, and so they're just going to follow through. Even though I don't.
How come they didn't want to use ours with the Northwest?
Well, they'd already
because they signed up for it.
Yeah,
we're tagging along.
They made the initial contact, and then Drew reached out to me. But I thought I was going to bring this to everybody's attention, thinking we would have met last Monday instead of today, and had more time to think about it. But
what about our tablecloth? If it's their pop-up, how about our tablecloth?
I think they're providing a tablecloth from the event or something. I'm not sure.
They are, but most people will put theirs over that to promote their.
No.
I'm just saying, so we could get some publicity there.
Do we have a tablecloth? Or is that?
We finally found them.
Yeah, I have it. I have that too.
Well, John, you're pretty crazed.
Well, I have everything here. Remember, I
would just like to say this, just so everybody knows, we should be extremely grateful that John's here tonight. His father-in-law passed away 2 days ago, and he's been making arrangements. Yesterday. Okay, time. Yeah. So I don't think we should ask John to have to do anything under the circumstances.
Well, yeah, I can't go because I got the grandkids too. They're here, but all I could tell you is it's first mom in June now, him, and it's all good. And he was 88, but the nice thing is my wife and I can maybe have a life again. I don't regret taking care of them both, and I do it over again. But 8 years is, it's
John, you did an amazing job. I can only hope my kids, if I'm ever in a situation like that, would give me the love and care that you did for so many years. And
If
our
they
thoughts,
don't
are
worry.
with you.
Well, I'll take care of you, Lori. Don't worry.
No.
I mean, you got all the skills built up at this point, right?
I'm a great caregiver. I even cook.
Yeah.
You'll get all this great Italian food. What
Yeah.
more can you know?
I just sound like a deal.
Yeah, no, you deserve a break, John, and really our thoughts are with you.
Yeah,
Even
thank
though
you,
it was
guys.
expected, it's hard.
Agree.
Yeah, but it's
Thinking
good.
of you, John.
Yes,
Yeah,
John.
no,
Please
thanks.
tell your wife for
It's
us.
been you know what? It's been a hell of a roller coaster for a summer between Mom in June, me having major surgery, you know, and then now this too. So it's like, okay, you know,
You're definitely in our thoughts and prayers, and please tell your wife too. I know
Yeah.
that's hard for her.
Yeah, no, it's good. You know, he's been wanting to go for 8 years, wanting to be with his wife, you know, so.
Oh, that's hard.
So,
But
but
it's
anyway,
good.
I don't want to ask John of anything, but anybody else on here, are they maybe thinking they could come over there and work, you know, from like 12:30 to 2 just to cover it, to get more exposure and talk to people about neighborhood council?
You know, and Chris, I still got pens, Chris. We have plenty of pens that we can.
Okay, well, you know what? Maybe, why don't I do this? I'll, you know, I can make your place a stop on the way there. Why don't I just text you mid-morning tomorrow, and I'll swing by and get the tablecloth.
Okay, I'm here. They're going to be gone. My granddaughter's got cheerleading. You know, they just made her captain. You know, so she's doing that. The sixth grader. So she's got a parade they got to go through. So they'll go. I'll be home. I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you a heads up, and I'll swing by and I'll just grab that.
Yeah, I'll show you. I'll give you the cloth and everything I have, and you know.
Okay.
So.
But that doesn't answer the question of anybody else's. Don't all jump up at once.
Oh, we were coming, so we'll arrive. You know, if you're going to be right early, I'll make sure we stagger it. We'll try to come a little afternoon.
Okay.
I'm trying to quarantine. My daughter-in-law and my son both tested positive for COVID. So
I'm so
I
sorry,
tested
Kelly.
negative, but I'm trying to stay. I'm going to stay home and quarantine at least.
Yeah,
I have to test before I go back to work again. So we'll see.
Yeah, I can tomorrow. If I'd known further in advance, maybe, but it's like one of those weekends with a lot going on.
Okay.
But thank you to those who are going to make it out.
Yeah,
so next time, Chris, maybe you could give more advance notice to everybody.
Yeah, maybe.
Can Ben help?
Yeah, no, when I said we, I meant Ben could volunteer, right? Even if he's not a member.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Of course he can.
I mean, I'm coming anyway, so I'll help.
We voted him in. Now it's up to the board. We'll vote him in again, but at least he can attend and get a.
That's Candy Cane Lane set up, though. I will be for that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Candy Cane Lane and the parade are on my calendar already. That's my jam.
And I will tell you that this event tomorrow, because it's widespread and I worked it last year, you do get some San Pedro people, but you get some out of area people, Gardena, Carson, Wilmington. And so you can tell them about neighborhood council, but if we're trying to engage our stakeholders, this isn't it. Whereas Candy Cane Lane, we get a lot in our area.
And email signups. And stuff.
not so much, but still, I think any engagement in promotion we can do is always good.
Sure.
And I like to encourage people from out of area to sign up for their own neighborhood council, like email list or whatever, just, to encourage people to get involved in local politics.
That's a good idea. I wonder, Chris, if somebody has a map that can show the borders between central, northwest, and coastal. We never seem to have a good map with that, and that would help. People walk up and say, I don't know.
You can print.
Yeah, I know I have. I can pull one off the website. And I have a photo printer. I can probably run one of those off.
And even on our website, it says what the border streets are. So, but sometimes it's this little area we're not quite sure.
Yeah.
So.
Well, honestly, if they're in San Pedro, I still encourage them to sign up for our list, because then they find out about stuff like our movies in the park and things that are within our district, and we're planning it, but applies to our whole community. But say they're at the Cabrillo Aquarium from Gardena and they just happen to walk by our booth, I might say like, well, you have a neighborhood council too. Check it out.
No, they don't.
Oh, they don't?
No, Gardena is not part of the city of Los Angeles.
Right. Okay. Well, bad example, but you get the drift, right?
I know, but no, that's actually a great idea. They can still subscribe. I always tell people, because people go, I don't know about getting more emails. And I'm like, you could always unsubscribe.
Yeah. And I tell them, this is a really good email. Like, there's good stuff in our emails.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's a significant, I mean, especially Christina, but we put a reasonable amount of time every week into making those, you know, kind of useful, really, not just a fluff. And then it's something that occurred to me that, you know, we should probably bring up and exploit more often, is that given that Northwest is between Central and Coastal, that we have more issues in common with the entirety of San Pedro, probably, than those other, you know, there may be things that Coastal may take an interest in that wouldn't necessarily relate to parts of Central and Northwest, but there's a lot of things, because we're on Gaffey, because we're on Western, and we're kind of in the middle. There's very little that happens that we don't kind of have a foot in one way or another. So
we're very important.
Kind of like the backbone.
And you know what? You don't have to worry about people signing up. I'll get another 30, 40 people at Candy Cane.
Yeah. That's always a good.
You're not on commission, John.
You know what we need to do?
He does a good job. I was next to him at Candy Cane.
We need to
we did pretty good at the park too.
And you did an amazing job at the park.
We did good. D'Angelo and I did good at the park. We did, you know, and Melanie and everybody. So
how about Adrianita? You gonna be around tomorrow, girl?
Yeah, I won't be able to make it.
Okay. I thought maybe it'd be another chance I get to see you.
I know. I'll go Candy Cane.
Okay.
I just finished a 10-day work shift.
Oh my goodness.
What?
Yeah.
At Terranea?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's how I'm here. I'm like, stay awake. I need some coffee, but I don't want to.
Don't drink coffee. Just power through the meeting and go to bed.
Well, she's got school and her job, so.
We need another dinner night thing like we did at Diane's house. I need some more of Chris's salad.
Oh, you know, it's funny. I don't throw anything away, especially if it's digital. And so I was scrolling through looking for pictures, and I for some reason, I think maybe because I put a lot of work into the salad, and I had a picture of it. I thought, oh, that was really good salad. And
it was.
Well,
I kept teasing your wife, like, how come she hasn't had you make it for us for our meetings or something?
You know what? For what it costs and how long it took to do, it's actually probably one of the most like energy effective dishes I've ever prepared, because, you know, I'm a decent cook, but that was one of those where I kind of surprised myself. It's like, well, that was easier than most of the stuff I take on. It was like, that was just collect ingredients and put them in the pan.
Hey, I didn't get to go to that. You need to put a thing that when she does something for the board, she should put all committee chairs and committee liaisons to be included, please.
I think,
yes.
I think you could probably.
I concur.
And honored guests.
I mean, I haven't missed a board meeting yet, even though I was unelected a year and a half ago. So
you weren't unelected. You had fewer people vote for you than some people did. That, not for nothing, that really bothers me, because it denies the fact that you got votes. Other people got votes because there weren't enough to clear the threshold. Doesn't mean that you weren't, endorsed by the community.
You know what? I have the power of being a stakeholder. Well, I show up at all your meetings. I can make statements that you can't make. And I'm sorry, I don't have to take your training.
That's true. I mean,
I'm happy in this position. I'm grateful that it all ended up this way.
You can do about 90% of what a board member does with none of the complications. Yeah. I mean,
I will say, honestly, not trying to be like a blowhard, but I think I do more than some other board members.
Clearly. No.
You do.
I mean,
you do. And you know, the nice thing about being a stakeholder, you can tell them where to go.
Yeah, I can. And I try not to abuse the fact that I can say whatever I want under public comment, because I still want to maintain a level of professionalism. But believe me, when I get attacked, it's very tempting.
Yeah, I feel that.
But that's okay. I'm just saying that having me as a stakeholder can be an advantage for you guys sometimes.
No, but it absolutely is.
Can we move on to the next items?
Yeah, let's. So item number 7 would be discussion and continuation of our voter registration PSA script, which has essentially stalled because I took on a project that was happening more or less immediately, and I had to kind of shift gears to get that done and get that shot. But
so why didn't you tell us that, Chris?
Because I was doing it, that and work and
I did send you a list of voter registration links, and the fact that the last day to register to vote is October 24th. Yeah. And so I think, quite honestly, I'm recommending you skip doing the PSA script, and let's get a print campaign out there and bombard people on our website, in our e-newsletters. If anybody has any other ideas, because I don't think we really have time to do a PSA announcement. Instagram. We really need to get people to register to vote, and to, if when there's voter forums where people will be discussing the pros and cons of proposition and candidates, because we don't just want people to register to vote. At least I don't. I want them to be informed voters.
Yeah, no, I think that's, and well, we don't necessarily have the time outreach to the elected officials, which I think, and about half the people we were considering speaking to, or I think are up for re-election, which might have made it more complicated. But I think there's 3 weeks from tomorrow, I think, or more than 3 weeks until the deadline for registration. So I think we have time to do all of those things. And the traditional social media, e-blast things, there is still plenty of time for. But I if anybody is still willing to, because I'm thinking at this point of probably asking Ray, a couple of committee members, or anybody else from the board who might just be willing to go to camera for like 10 seconds. That can be done relatively quickly. That's like something can be done in a couple of days.
But you need to provide people. So I don't know if you still have the email I sent you with how and people can get registered to vote, because I think not everybody knows that, and the deadline date. I mean, it just needs to, people really need to know, and to make, and also I believe there's a website you can go to make sure you're registered
to verify.
Because I've heard of people saying, I thought I was registered, and by the way, does anybody know when we're going to get our ballots in the mail? I thought we were supposed to have them by now. Has anybody received one yet?
I feel like we did get them, but maybe I'm just remembering a different time.
I haven't.
No, what came in the mail was just a reminder thing.
Oh,
it was like like a folded sheet in half. That's just a remind, that you'll be getting this and that, and our voters for, that's it. That's all that at least that's what we got here. The three of us got. So
in those 10-second scripts, somebody can say, hey, it's important you get to vote, and, wear a Uncle Sam hat or whatever, but they need to be told the deadline date and how they register.
I'm sure getting a lot of the propaganda.
Yeah, well, we're not going there.
Yeah, well,
are we? Is it going to be the same where library, Peck Park, and all of that?
It's a vote by mail. There's no excuse for somebody who's registered to not vote.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
it's all by mail, drop off.
Yes, at Peck Park, the libraries, that people, and I take mine to the polling place just because it makes me feel like I'm really voting, and
I always go to the polling place, and I take my kids with me.
Yeah, I like the new machines. I'd rather do, and be honest, I trust going up the hill to the what is it, the Elks or whatever, that's a lodge up there. I still don't trust the mail delivery entirely. Sometimes we get, sometimes we don't. If I go in person,
that's what I do.
I feel much better. And
well, also too, I feel like there's people who have dedicated their time to be at the poll. So I go in, I thank them. I want them to, because it's like a desert in there, and it's to say thank you for devoting your time. Now, I don't know if they're still looking for student helpers at the polls. I don't know if Adrianita or Ben know.
I haven't heard, but I agree.
I tried last year to volunteer, and it's a time commitment. Is there a lower level of volunteer?
Angela,
you
your daughter
have to put in like so many days.
Your daughter said she was doing it.
My daughter?
Yeah, she said at our last Girl Scout meeting that she was going to try to work the polls. So maybe ask her.
I will.
Your daughter does all kinds of things you don't know about.
Yeah, that's true.
She's a superstar. She is. So, but that would be good information to have. So, Chris, do you have the time to work on this?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, Ben, can I have an email address for you? Because I want to put it in my address book.
It's in the
Wait, do we want him to say it on the internet though?
Yeah, I sent Chris, I sent you guys a spreadsheet with the candidates, and it had their emails and
okay, never mind. I'll get it from you.
Yeah, this is going to be a video that's posted. Send it offline.
Well, that's right. I forgot about the recording.
Yeah.
It would be flattering if enough people watched it that we actually had a security threat.
I know, but he's
I go to
minor.
YouTube
Let's
to
keep
get.
his email.
If I have to get clarity on something, I'll go to YouTube and I look. I was like, oh, okay, we have 2 views and I'm one of them. But
and Ben can't quite vote yet, but he's close, right? I think if I remember right, your
that's
birthday
what I was
in
going to ask.
December. You turn 18.
December, yes, December 15th.
All right.
I pay attention.
Well, we look forward to having him.
Yeah.
You know.
So Chris, you know, I'm slammed with work. I'm not going to kid you, but I feel very strongly about people registering and voting. So if you get stuck, let me know. And maybe Ben can do one of our PSAs after he's officially a board member, because having a youth speak and Adrianita.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, actually. Because I think that's kind of, I mean, it's important, you know, again, for me, the political sustainability part of it is that getting people involved and keeping them involved, just as an expectation, is super important. And that's where you do it. It's like, that's why they taught little school kids to recycle, so that eventually there'd be adults who did it without thinking about it. So, you know, and here we are. So that's kind of my idea, is that when you can make it relatable and it's not, you know, somebody just telling you to do it, then
so can you get something done this week, because it's very time sensitive? And I'm not trying to pressure you. I'm trying to say, tell us if you can't.
Yeah, no, I think, well, this weekend I'm pretty sure as of right now my calendar is clear, and at that and a couple of other things that I'm planning on knocking out by basically Sunday night. And again, it's not an awful lot of writing. It just has to get done, and it hadn't, so I can do that. But I will be reaching out to people. And so again, what the concept is, no longer than 30 seconds, and possibly a couple of even shorter ones that can be sort of remixed in different combinations, but basically just short statements about, you know, what voting and the rights that are attached to that mean to you. And, you know, why you would encourage someone to vote and to get informed and be an educated voter and stuff like that. It's a real straightforward pitch, and maybe go stand in front of Peck Park Auditorium or in, you know, one of the typical polling places, you know, go to camera for a few seconds, and then I go home and edit. So I will be reaching out with that.
Plus you get a cool sticker. See, that's what I like. I like my sticker.
And I think I might, you know, I might still have, I don't think I don't think I stuck the last one I got. So maybe that would be our prop. But yeah, so it is doable, and I agree it should get done. But I think tomorrow's the 1st, and by Monday, I think we'll have kind of something that.
Kelly, you're so funny, because all of us love that sticker. It's just a silly sticker that said I voted, and yet everybody's put selfies online going, look, I did my civic duty.
But that's good.
Don't underestimate the power of the sticker.
Well, that's why badges.
I'll show you one that I saved on my clock radio from a million years ago. Can you see it?
Yeah. Oh.
That clock radio is probably I've probably had it for like the last 10, 15 years, and that voted sticker got on it right away.
Well, that's why badges and
books, I have them on everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's why badges and logos and those things, you know, people identify with it. Like, you know, it sticks in your brain, and it takes on a value well beyond the piece of paper it's printed on.
I love wearing it in my classroom and explaining it to kids.
Which makes it important to them. I remember being a little kid and like an emblem or a sign or whatever. It's a little, you know, it's a little mental.
Hey, Chris, you're going to the executive board agenda setting meeting on Monday. Yes. Maybe you could ask a message to come from the executive board that they put a statement out reminding people that the last day to register is October 24th, and how that, you know, maybe we could put it on our agenda if you need to register, and have the website on there where they can register. I mean, let's start right now.
Yeah, we can do that. I was also planning on asking Ray anyway. So.
Yeah. Well, can we put it on our Facebook page too?
Yeah. Right. Once I have, that's why I sent the information to Chris. If you need help with that, because I can post too.
We already.
Yeah, we could do that.
We already put one up about voter registration for people experiencing homelessness, and so we can follow up. And one of the things is that when you're doing it in that format, you can't really cram an awful lot of information into one graphic. So I think, you know, that was a few days ago, and it's time we can do another one.
And yeah, I'm the one that pushed that, because people don't realize that people experiencing homelessness can register to vote. And not only that, it's important that they have the ability to advocate for themselves, okay, and have a voice.
Yeah.
Agree.
All right. Well, and then speaking of social media, so the update is that our engagement, our follow right now, Instagram is kind of the backbone of everything. That's where it all starts. Whatever it is that we post to Instagram is copied automatically to Facebook. And so that when I'm producing something, that's kind of the workflow. But it's just, and then then I'll go over to Facebook, log in, and typically share that to a couple of the San Pedro local pages.
Can I ask how many of in this meeting actually are on Facebook and see our neighborhood council Facebook posts? John does, I know. So a lot of you guys don't even use that platform.
I'm on Facebook. I'm trying to think if I've seen a post. I don't know.
Well,
It's always good because there's a lot of information that we put in there. And even there's a lot of, I mean, I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer, but I mean, how many people go on our website? There's so much information on that too, that, you know, Christina puts on there that we tell her and stuff. So even for us, it's an education. Okay.
You know, John, she posts our newsletter on Facebook. So Chris, I'm wondering that link she has to our newsletter, because it's between you and I, we send her so much information. It's really, if you read through it, there's a lot of stuff in there. Maybe she could share that on the San Pedro Facebook page that has 17,000 followers instead of ours that has 800 followers.
Yeah,
well, you know, if you do that, I could do that too.
Yeah,
I could put it up, you know, love San Pedro CA.
John, you can share them to those.
Yeah, that's what I do. When I put something on Instagram, I will then follow, because then I have it copy automatically to our Facebook account, but then I will go in there, log in, and repost it to San Pedro and Love San Pedro and those sorts of things.
Yeah, because I got about 6 or 7 of them that I deal with, so I can put them on that too.
And so
it's all San Pedro.
And so I think that's a pretty regular thing that, you know, because one of the good things is that, and one of the main differences is that it's a lot easier to share other people's things or even your own between accounts on Facebook. And Instagram, you can post something, but if you see something that someone else has, it's not a straight, they don't have anything built in to their platform that lets you reshare it automatically yet. There's other third-party things that let you copy stuff, and that I don't intend to do that. But at least with Facebook, you can put it on any number of groups pretty easily.
But what's nice about the newsletters that she puts together is, I've worked with her, is she has links. So if you're giving information about an event, it includes a link that you can click right from there and go and get more information. So maybe Chris, you could talk to Christina, maybe the next couple of newsletters, the top item should be about registering to vote.
Yeah, I think you can probably kind of come up with a banner with some of the like with a couple of links in there to kind of float there for the time being. And she's great about making those changes and just kind of getting that stuff up there. She's good at it.
You know, one last thing that you didn't really have on here that kind of fits here is, we've talked about it before. We need some people besides me and John to patrol our website. I'm constantly having to say, hey, Christina, take this down. It's past the date. And, you know, and I just wanted to tell you, I took it upon myself, and I did copy Chris, that I rearranged the resources on our website to put homelessness on top and tenant and landlord rights on the second item. And I added 4 new links for tenant rights. I am trying to follow it, but the eviction moratorium keeps being discussed between the city and the county and changing. This is a serious, serious issue. The homeless count. I also gave her the 2022 count numbers. I'm working on that. So Chris, was that okay that I like?
No, that's more than okay. It's my concept of that is that issue, I mean, of all the things that either our committee or the board addresses, many of those, like, you know, if we're voting to approve a parking lot or an apartment building or whatever, that's got some indirect effect on somebody, maybe possibly in the future. There are people who have like immediate, like real-time housing issues. And so in terms of our reach, that's one of the few things where we have, like, if we have a resource or information or whatever, for those people to whom it is relevant, it's critical, as opposed to a lot of the other things we mentioned where it's like, well, you can either get an Omicron booster or not, and that's not really on us. But, you know, if you're facing homelessness, or you have that kind of crisis, that's a lot, like our reach goes much, much farther. So I think that stuff should be higher priority because it's got the most direct impact for the people that it actually does relate to.
And probably at the next board meeting, when I do my homelessness liaison report, I'm only going to focus on that. And if I can, share the screen to show on the website what I've added there, because you may not have a problem or concern with housing, but everybody knows somebody who is close to not being able to pay their rent or have, some issues there. And we need to make sure they know that they have free legal aid, and how important it is. If you get an eviction notice, you have to take action within like 5 days, or sorry, you're screwed, really. And so it's really sad, but the predictions on once the eviction moratorium, they're talking, more than doubling the amount of people experiencing homelessness in the county of LA. So I don't like to be like, oh my God, the sky is falling, but this is reality.
Yeah, no, but for those people that are directly affected, the sky is falling for them. So it's like, for many of us, it's an important issue. For some people, it's the issue. It's like, so there's again, of all the things that we ever reference, that's one that I think lands the closest literally to home. For, we'll talk like this health fair, that's not going to affect anybody's health in real time tomorrow afternoon. If somebody's about to get evicted, any of those resources could be, potentially life-changing. So.
And I'll actually have flyers on the eviction and tenant rights at my booth, and in English on the front, in Spanish on the back. So if you want to take some down to your booth, you're more than welcome to do that.
No Italian, no nothing for the Italiano.
Sorry, no Italiano.
That's okay. No more spaghetti for nobody anymore.
Oh no. I need you to still make me some sausages there, John.
As a matter of fact, I got to make some too. We're out.
Yeah, he's quite a cook. Not living next door to him has not been good for me.
Yeah, she said the house, that's all she could smell is the garlic and this and that.
Now I want sausages. That sounds great.
Yeah, I know. He makes them from scratch. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know.
Chris.
So I did, I always copy you, Chris, so you can always stop it if you say, no, you don't have the right to make those website changes.
No, that's fine. Again, I think, that's what the committee is for. I mean, really,
But I did it on my own. I didn't ask.
Yeah, that principle is really so that there is some account, like, so if you hit your head real hard and post something that's kind of off kilter, then at least we know who to come ask about it. Like, Chris, why didn't you, whatever, and I will, take responsibility for that. It's not, so I happen to trust you, so it's not an issue. But in the past, it was just sort of kind of, whoever did stuff, and we didn't really have a clear like chain of accountability for that. So at least we know who to ask. Hey, what the hell just happened? If and when something questionable happens, that's the major change. It's not that it's really a huge problem. It's just that we should have a sense of what's supposed to be there.
I just want to make sure I'm not overstepping. And also, if people have ideas on, especially Ben being younger and Adrianita, and you look at our website and you go, hey, why don't you include this information or that information, or you think things should be, realigned or whatever. Sometimes we have to freshen it up. Personally, because I designed the front part of it with Chris's picture, I still love it. And I think we need to get some more branding out of that, Chris. I think down the road, maybe in a future meeting, we can talk about how we can get some more branding using what we designed with our logo in that background picture to be more recognizable.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I think there's probably some things we can do with that in terms of a graphic, possibly converting it to like a halftone or something like that, or posterize it to make it a little easier to reproduce in more ways. But it's not, it is, I would have to say that is probably as close to an iconic look of, Northwest that we can get, I think. So that's not a bad idea.
So before Candy Cane Lane, our brochure is out of date. I have it saved. I think we need to update the emergency numbers, but we need to have a good brochure that talks about what committees we have, what our neighborhood council's about, how to subscribe. And we need that, have that handout. So, which means maybe next month we think about adding more to the budget, not specifically for Candy Cane Lane, but a budget for printing color brochures for all upcoming events to hand out.
That's a good idea. I was just gonna ask you then, if we wanted it in time for Candy Cane Lane, then we would need to make the request. I mean, we should just plan on doing that. If we just need to sort of configure an existing layout, then we should just ask for the money.
So I have it saved. Do you want me to send it to you? I can, Melanie's really the one that's the expert on the emergency numbers as our safety chair.
Well, we can update the info, but it's just, if the layout's already established, then we just plug, new information into it.
Okay. And I don't know, I'll have to take a look at it. I haven't looked at it in a long time, but I think having a handout and it's a trifold.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we should update it and have it out for Candy Cane Lane. Because I think this year we'll get another good year, because since COVID has kind of downsized itself, I think we can have a good group of people again. And
people need to, John, that's great. And we need to look at other events that are happening in San Pedro that we don't have to spend all the money and time. We can just host a table. I don't know. I mean, we've talked before, maybe until we have a brochure, having a table at First Thursdays and other things like that.
Be good too, just to have things like that. And, now that we have our tablecloth, we can, they'll see who we are, and,
And the weather's getting a little cooler. It'll actually be possible to sit outside for a length of time.
But I'm just saying, anybody on this team, if you see an event, that's happening, that you go, wow, maybe we could have a table there, bring it to Chris.
Lori, on a Friday when we do the farmer's market, I know there are some people.
You know what? Elise, I saw her today when they were setting up, and she asked me if my job wanted to have a booth, but I don't know who's available in the middle of the day to have a booth there. And most people are shopping for fruit and veggies there. I don't know if that's a good spot or not.
Yeah, maybe not. We can scout it. Our call-in user, whomever that is got their hand raised. So call-in user, go ahead.
Yes, good evening. I'm a stakeholder. I just had a suggestion that you may want to look into. You may want to take a consensus of board members who have children, because as I recall, as a young children, school events, coloring in things was a very popular thing. And I thought, if that is still something popular, that at these events that you're tabling, you could perhaps make your logo a fill-in or something appropriate for the event, like a happy holidays, a happy new year, pumpkin season is coming, maybe a pumpkin with the initials of the neighborhood council on one side for a child to color, and on the other side, the neighborhood council information. And also, Empower LA offers a link for those residents of the city of Los Angeles to input their address, and it will identify the neighborhood council that they belong to. So while utilizing it as an outreach material, just a little line for all those other city of LA residents, perhaps somebody, a friend or family member is coming out from another part of the city, that while they're not going to be a specific stakeholder for your neighborhood council, it will at least get them in touch with the neighborhood council system. Because back when I was a kid, we had magnets on the refrigerator, and parents tended to put up our Picassos up on the refrigerator. And after some time, sometimes adults find it necessary. They're stuck in the kitchen and they're looking for something to do, and they'll grab the picture. Oh, look there's a neighborhood council. What is this? Let me look into this. So maybe this is a suggestion that you could look into, and it may become fruitful and something that you can utilize for all events and holidays throughout the year. Thank you.
That's a great idea. I just made a note to add on the brochure how to find your neighborhood council. So when we hand out our brochure, if they're not in our area, they know how to do that. So that's great. And we used to have, about 4 years ago, maybe 5, we actually had magnets that information on when our meetings were, but it also had like major emergency numbers. But I kind of like your idea that you're right, the Picassos from the kids. So
it's genius, because that's going to go up on the fridge, right?
Yeah, that's a great idea. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing.
And it also, I think I'm thinking of that photo, that it's probably, I have software that would probably allow me to make line art from this landscape. That might be fun to color in, or, we can come up with something, but that's, it kind of combines both of those things as we can sort of get people familiar with that look, with that branding, and give them a reason to keep it in a prominent place in their home. That's
I mean, it's funny she said that. I've got everything that my grandkids do when they're down here.
There you go.
My refrigerator is just plastered with it,
Well, caller, you are officially on the committee now. So congratulations.
We voted you in.
Welcome to Youth and Outreach.
That's fantastic. That's a great idea, and we'll absolutely going to.
That would be cool to have that trifold with some kids drawing on it and this and
Well, I wasn't going to do that on the trifold. I'm just going to put information on how you can find your neighborhood council. I think what she's talking about is a separate thing. And John,
right? But I mean, it would be something like that.
Yeah, at least
coloring the logo. It's a good logo.
Yeah.
Well, it's a hard to color it in, but John, maybe we want to rethink what we're handing out at Candy Cane Lane with those things with Oriental Trading, and maybe we could make something where they're coloring it in for the holidays, and just like what the caller said, having the information on the other side. Maybe we rethink that.
Yeah, kind of like what they do at like IHOP or Danny, where they give you those little.
Yeah.
You can color those, and you can do And on the other side, that's a great idea.
And you know what we could do? It's really inexpensive because I've done it as a Girl Scout leader. I'm sure Angela does too. You can buy strips of magnets and just cut them down and put it on there so that somebody could put that on their fridge.
Yeah.
You could put the name or the council number, name, and website stamped onto the back of those little ornaments that we give out for the kids to make. Because then it goes on their tree and they have the number.
The thing is, last year, because of COVID, John had to buy sealed things. But this year we probably don't have those restrictions, John.
Hopefully not.
No, hopefully not. I'm going to talk to Diana actually on Monday, and I will ask her.
Okay, what if there's any restrictions?
Yeah, I'll ask Diana Costner. Yeah.
Or maybe we go back to the kids making something.
Strong, as I found in my household.
But I like the idea. Instead of doing that, even with the candy canes, we can do those. Get like some sort of, twofold where they color it, everything, and on the back, inside back, and back has the numbers like you said, or on the inside.
We don't have to hand out candy canes, John. When you hosted the booths and we had our youth reps helping out, and we had all the kids. What was great about it is the kids were doing the artwork, and then we could engage with the adults while the kids were doing it.
Yeah. So that's what we can do too. We can get, maybe like you said, maybe we get Ben and them to do that with the kids, or we get the kids to build them there.
Well, let's talk about it. I love this idea. See, sometimes we're just too close to it, and it takes somebody coming in and introducing a new idea. I love it.
Yeah,
there's always that person that thinks outside the box, and that's
right.
That's what I always say,
All right. Well, let me close out item number 8, and just to say that we will be adding, now that we've got our Twitter login sorted out, I'm going to be mirroring. So right now, everything that goes on Instagram is mirrored on Facebook. It will soon also be mirrored on Twitter, and therefore the graphic and the caption and all that stuff will be formulated in a relatively simplified fashion. That is, it will have a hopefully attractive, compelling graphic with some information, and then if there's more stuff to be put in there, we will put that in the caption. On Facebook, that can be an active link that is clickable. Instagram, it's not, and Twitter, it is. So that we will have a little bit more. If we're including an intact link and relevant hashtags, it gives us the potential to sort of let the thing travel on its own. And it's important then to try and latch on to topics that other, like if it's a hurricane or homelessness or Super Bowl or whatever. So just going forward, keep in mind that we're going to be including Twitter with that. And then I've messaged with Victor and Ray about essentially consolidating all of the social media function under youth and outreach, because of the outreach part of it, that's essentially what we're there for. It's, there's not much reason to have public safety or issues or the port take on those things if we already have the other two. So I basically just said, we should probably have a Twitter admin be under this roof as well. And so if you guys have ideas for anything that's more appropriate for one of those channels than the other, or just anything that you want to go out, and that's how it's going to go. So our basic, our standard procedure is essentially that 3-pronged attack plus the weekly e-blast and or any sort of special emergent things that go out via email as well. And then I guess, and then also whatever might be static on the website. So that's kind of our regular stuff. And then it looks like probably twice a year, we're also going to be coming up with things maybe that have been covered in some of the other ones, but hopefully not, that are for the print newsletter that would have kind of its own significance. And I guess the idea is that maybe for the newsletter, rather than thinking of it as a newspaper, we should think of it as a special edition that covers things kind of out that aren't as immediate. Think of it more, I guess, really more like a magazine than a newspaper, where we're sort of putting stuff together that hopefully it's got a little bit more, like it's going to be useful beyond the week that people actually get it, kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of wrapping social media up. But
you have a hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Angela, go ahead.
Actually, that's good because my comment was not on social media, but what I wanted to say before we adjourn is now an okay. I just wanted to say to Colin user number 1, we were all laughing at the time, but we're almost all on the board. And if you do want to join the committee, like reach out to our committee chair, Chris Valle, because we are actively encouraging community members to join us. Most of us here are on the board and we love input from community stakeholders.
So thanks very much. All right, everybody. Well, that was
good pitch, Angela.
That was.
Hey, I'm outreach.
Yeah.
Chris, I have a quick question because I'm not a social media that savvy. So I post on Facebook. So you say when you put it on Instagram, it automatically goes on Facebook. Is it the other way around? If you put something on Facebook, does it automatically go on Instagram?
I think so.
Short answer, no. But
okay.
So Facebook owns Instagram, which is why it's easy for them to make those things connect within their own kind of internal mechanism. There are, and I've done it because I have a professional Instagram account. I mean, I have, for my business and all that other stuff, I think I probably have at this point half a dozen different things on Instagram and Facebook. And what they've done recently is have sort of a back-end software that allows you to tie all those accounts together. So I can basically go to one thing now and sort of, if I needed to post one thing on every one of my channels, I could do that. Or if I had something that was specific to one, it just makes it easier to direct traffic. So it's not impossible that we could set it up to do in the reverse. I haven't done it that way just because it's simple enough. Like in the Instagram until recently only ran off of your phone anyway, but within the app, you basically just flip a switch and enter your Facebook login and it'll automatically post there for you. If Facebook does it, it probably requires a little bit more hacking, but that's why I had it this way, just because Instagram offered the option to connect those other things pretty easily.
I didn't know how it worked, and I didn't know if we get no more mileage out of it.
I can tell you a little better than this. Diana was just telling me, my sister-in-law, that they do have it where it goes both ways, Instagram, Facebook. It'll ask you if you want to, I'll put this on Instagram Messenger and Facebook. Or if you're on Insta, it'll tell if you want to put it on Messenger and Facebook. So they have done that now.
Yeah.
Diana says it does it for all three now.
Yeah, they have basically separate software that ties all the other stuff together, so that if you wanted to do that, you wouldn't have to go to each part individually and mess with it.
Right. It does it now automatically. So
yeah. All right.
Thank you.
I
gotta run to Panda Express now. I gotta
Wait, is the one up here open yet?
It just opened. Ray just told me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anna's so excited they have vegan orange chicken.
Wow.
Well, we just stopped and got some orange chicken for my daughter because that's what her and the baby were craving. So
this is what we have our priorities in order here now.
Yeah, are we still recording?
For Northwest, and with that, I will stop the recording. Where are the controls? There we go.
Oh yeah. No.
More.
Stop recording.
Rats. Stop recording. Let's see.